Hey guys, I'm Will today. For today's video, I'll be grading the Australian Super Rugby transfers for the 2023 season. Before I do so, click that like button, definitely subscribe, and let me know in the comments which player will have the biggest impact. Other than that, let's just get straight into this. We'll start off with the WARATAHS. As you guys can see right here, the WARATAHS haven't had many signings compared towards the rest of the Super Rugby sides, but still they've added some valuable players and definitely a lot of experience within these players they signed. The first one obviously is Tolo, again an ex-Waratah, and did represent the the Wallabies within 2019, so he can add a lot of experience towards that hooker position. And again, he's only 29 years old, so he still has a few more years until he kind of hits that kind of peak, but still he can add a lot of value towards his Waratah side, as that's definitely a position they need to kind of add towards within that front row. But again, they do the likes of Suru, another player they've added within the loose forward pack. Again, I mean, they don't have a lot of depth, you can say, within that position, so I understand why they may be adding a bit more from there. I mean, look, you do have the likes of Michael Hooper, you have the likes of Charlie Gamble, you could say. I mean, there's other players I can kind of list off the top, but yeah, I think Suru can definitely add towards that. So I kind of like that that kind of transfer there overall. But again, the big name that the Waratahs have definitely made this year is definitely Nadalo. I mean, Nadalo is just going to be. I can't wait to see him, guys. I mean, look, he was an extra skater and obviously did represent the Waratahs in the past, but when he was with the Crusaders, he was just tearing up the league. So I'm kind of excited to see what he does. But at the same time, you have to remember he is now 35 years old, so he's not the same player he once was. So we'll see if he can kind of make the same impact he did, back in the past. But still a great signing overall coming from the Leicester Tigers. If I had to grade these signings, I'm going to probably give Lautau, because he's just a great player overall, I think, for what the Waratahs need, particularly from that position. So I'm going to say that's probably like a B+ signing. I'm going to say B+. For Suru, again, it's just more about a cover position within that kind of loose forward pack. So I'm going to say probably like I'll say a C-. I think that's kind of nice in that sense. And then, yeah, for Nadalo, I mean, look, he's just a great signing overall and definitely a good player for the league. Again, I remember his age. Will he make the same impact? Probably not. I'm going to say like I don't know. I'm maybe being generous here, but I'm gonna say A-. I think A-, it's Nadalo. I mean, come on, you gotta give him a good rating. But anyway, we move on then towards the Reds. So here we go. Here's the Reds. Again, similar towards the Waratahs, haven't made as many kind of impactful signings. Again, the two notable names is probably Pene Ravi. Coming, he is Fijian if I'm not mistaken, but again, this is a notable signing because with Taniela Tupou out essentially for the whole Super Rugby season. He's kind of come in, as the replacement essentially for his position, and it makes sense. He has a lot of quality under his belt and definitely a lot of experience. So he's definitely a good kind of, player to add towards his side, to say the least. But again, another player that they've added is Luke Jones. Again, I believe he's an ex-Rebel, if I'm not mistaken, but he's coming from France, I believe from Lyon. But again, he's a great player overall to have, and definitely a position they needed kind of to sort out with Lachlan Sai-Kylo to obviously leaving the Reds. Yeah, it's definitely a good pickup, I'd say, for the Reds, and definitely a position they can do. Again, I would have gone for maybe a center. They could have added a center here, and I'll explain why. Because the Rebels, not the Rebels, but the Western Force did steal one of their centers. But I guess they feel pretty comfortable with that position. But I don't know. If I'm the grade B signings, look, I'm gonna give it like I'll say like a B+. I say just to kind of get experience prop up in there. So I'm gonna give Ravi a B+ for that one. Luke Jones, again, he's a solid lock, but I think he's just really. I personally think he's kind of a bit overrated, just in terms of what he can maybe provide. I think they could have gone for a better lock, in my opinion. Again, maybe there wasn't as many players out there, but I'm gonna put like a C-. I'm gonna say a C-. It's just a solid pickup, really. But anyway, we move on then towards the Rebels. Here is the Rebels. Look, they've definitely made a lot more signings compared towards the previous two, and definitely up there in terms of getting really kind of value-added signings towards kind of their starting 15. I mean, look, you have the likes of Sam Talakai, who can definitely add a lot of kind of experience. Again, he's coming from Japan and has previously, represented the Wallabies recently, I believe, from the Autumn Nations, if I'm not mistaken. So he's kind of in a good form at the moment, you can say, and definitely can add a bit of value within that position. You do have the likes of, Alex Malfi coming from the Reds. So again, a player being stolen from a Super Rugby franchise. So that's kind of a big plus, to say the least. Again, he's only 25 years old, so he's a lot of kind of years ahead of him, and kind of a good player to have because he's that Super Rugby experience, as I said beforehand. So yeah, really good transfer there for the Rebels. In terms of another hooker they've got in, Rani, again, he is a bit older now, 33 years old, but still previously played for the Rebels, but now coming back, of course. So it's good to see him kind of, I guess, continue his progress within the Rebels camp. But again, the other player they've kind of signed in is Tim Cardinal, and I believe he's coming from England, if I'm not mistaken. I believe one of the few players who come from England. Is it from Wasp or is it from Worcester? I think it's from Worcester, if I'm not mistaken. But again, a lock, definitely a position they can add to. You know, maybe him and Matt Phillip can obviously play alongside each other. We'll have to wait and see. But again, going towards the backs, I mean, look, they brought in Ryan Lawrence back again. I believe he was coming from the MLR, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of a cool so I haven't seen him play in a very long time, so it's going to be interesting to see how he plays along. But it's still a good position to add into within that scrum half position. And obviously has a lot of experience under his belt as a previous Rebel. But the big signing, and definitely the most notable one that they've got in, is Monteoni from Brenton. And obviously 27 years old, winger. He's just a great player to watch overall, guys. He's just a try scorer. He has that kind of mentality where, like, if he has the line right in front of him, he's going to score a try. That's kind of like, there's few players within this league that can do that, and he's definitely one of them. So it's kind of good to have that kind of player within your side. So I highly rate the signing overall. But look, if I had to rate these signings quickly in terms of grading them, I'm going to give a grade towards Talakai. I'm going to say probably like a B+, just a good player to add in terms of experience. Alex Maffey, I'm gonna say I think that's probably an A+ signing, but maybe I'm I'm gonna say an A+ because I think it's a great position to have. He's only 25 years old, stolen from another Super Rugby franchise. Yeah, I'm gonna say A+. Rangi, again, a lot of experience on his belt, but still, he's only 33 years old, but can kind of cover that position under Maffey. So I'm going to probably say a C+. I think that's pretty fair. Tim Cardinal, again, a good player to kind of get on in terms of, what's happened within, England in terms of the financials and all that. I'm going to say it's probably like a B-. I'll say a B- because he's a solid player overall for what I've seen. But again, the likes of Ryan Lawrence, he's kind of suited towards the Rebels. He knows the environment. I'm going to say like a B-. I think that's a good signing for them. And then, Monteoni, definitely an A+ signing overall. Definitely an A+ signing. There's no doubt about that. But anyway, we'll move on then towards the Brumbies. Here is the Brumbies kind of transfer they brought in. Again, they've only brought in 2 signings that are kind of notable with the likes of Ben O'Donnell, 26 years old. He's a winger. And again, another winger with the likes of Corey Toole. I believe he's coming from the Australian Sevens program. And I believe Ben O'Donnell's coming from Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. But again, 2 wingers in there. Bit of youth, to say the least. But again, do they need to add within that position? I mean, maybe because, Tom Banks, I believe, is officially left now to Japan. They still have the likes of Tom Wright. So again, they're going to have a fight over that spot, if it's probably 11 or 14 jersey, either way. Or maybe one of them play within the 15 spot. You never know. But again, I still think it's 2 solid signings for the Brumbies. They don't actually have to make as many, but again, they could have covered for some of the players they have lost, because they have lost some notable players in the likes of Tom Banks, Israel Simone, I believe. They've lost Fafanga, who we'll get onto very shortly. But overall, look, if I had to rate these signings or grade them, I'm going to give a grade, probably like a D- for Ben O'Donnell. I just haven't seen enough of him at the moment, so he'll have to kind of surprise me throughout this year. Curl O'Toole, however, I have seen a lot of, because I've been watching the Sevens, and he's a great player to kind of pick up. So I'll stick a B+, kind of like him. Again, he's a lot of potential, so maybe I'm overestimating it, but still, I think it's a good signing for the Brumbies. We'll move on then towards the Western Force, which is the last team. So here's the Western Force transfers which they've kind of brought in. Yeah, the Western Force have definitely made a lot of signings, guys, and definitely the most notable ones, I'd say, out of all the Super Rugby franchises, because literally all of these players right here can be sorted within that starting 15, in my opinion. I think literally all of them can do that job. But you can't really say that for all the other teams, because some of the players kind of are more bench players, and some of them obviously are starting, just don't have as much in terms of what the Western Force have done within the off season. But man, they've brought in Santiago Medrano. First of all, he's coming back now towards the Western Force, obviously with another player from Worcester. Obviously, the whole financial situation there has now had to come back towards the Western Force. There's definitely a gain, you could say, and he's a great player overall. I mean, he's only 27 years old, but still has a lot of potential. And again, him and the next player, Flaufanga, that's probably the biggest transfer, I'd say. In my opinion, I'd say out of all the sides, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Monteoni is the biggest transfer, but I consider Fafanga the biggest transfer out of all the Australian sides, because he is literally a try-scoring hooker. He has so much experience in Super Rugby under the Brumbies, and he's proven, he can kind of do it the best. I think it's a great signing. He's still 27 years old. There's a lot of years ahead of him. It's a great pickup for the Western Force there, and you can definitely tell that they're kind of building a project here, which is kind of nice to see. Again, they've brought in another player, I believe from the WARATAHS they've stolen from, which is Jeremy Williams, only 21 years old, so a lot of youth in that sense. But again, it's a position they've needed to add to with Jeremy Fresh obviously leaving the side now. So it's a good kind of signing to say the least. Another player they've stolen from this time from the Rebels, but they've stolen Michael Wells, who used to be their captain actually. So it's kind of mad to think. But again, you can add obviously towards that loose forward position, which is what they need actually, and that's probably a position which they've kind of lacked on, you could say, in terms of the forward pack. So Michael Wells can definitely help and add a lot of value to that. But again, moving on towards the backs, they've brought back Bryce Haggerty. He's come back towards Super Rugby, but this time with the Western Force. Obviously, he was a previous Reds player, but now representing the Western Force. So kind of like the move, he'll be adding. I guess he'll kind of slot him for that fly half position, maybe even like fullback, you can even say. But again, they have another player here who can definitely fit in fullback if they need to. With Chase Tiatia, because he's coming from the Chiefs, which is a big signing, by the way, a big signing to say the least, and definitely will get a lot more minutes in my opinion. So he maybe starts moving from that fullback position. We'll have to wait and see. But Hamish Stewart though, only 24 years old, and he's from the Reds as well. That's another big signing, I'd say. He's very underrated, I think, Hamish Stewart, for what he brings towards our Reds side, and he's one of the players who, in my opinion, could be in the. He's in contention, I'd say, in terms of that Wallaby selection when you're looking at that 12-13. With a lot of injuries within the center spot. If he has a good year, then you never know. Maybe he kind of makes a claim for himself. But overall, if I had the regular signings, look, Santiago Mangadrano, I'm gonna say probably like it's a gain because they've kind of brought him back. I'll say like a B-. I'm not gonna put it any higher. Fafanga, A+ straight away. Jeremy Williams, I'll say a C+. Michael Wells, I'll say a B+, because he's captain from the Rebels. You gotta give it high. Bryce Haggerty, solid player. I'll say a B+ again. Hamish Stewart, I'm gonna say A- because you just don't. I don't know. It's and also the same thing with Chase Tiatia. I'll say A- as well. So there we go. That is my grading for the for all these sides really. It's just kind of mad to think of signings that we've brought in. But also you have to remember that a lot of these sides have lost a lot of players. But overall, let me know in the comments what you guys think about these transfers. Let me know who you think will have the biggest impact. But other than that, guys, I'll leave it there. And let me know in the comments if you want to see the exact same concept like this, but for New Zealand. And I'll kind of take a look over the New Zealand transfers at least. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. Other than that, like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time.
I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a